Captain Tae-ho Kim stood on the bridge of the Dauntless his eyes fixed on the main screen. The stars seemed too bright today, too cold. His ship, the pride of Earth's defense force, hung in space near the outer colony of New Seoul. Tae-ho had been captain for 5 years. He had seen pirates, storms in space, and even a dying star. But never aliens. "Captain, urgent message from Earth Command," said Officer Sun at the communication station. Her voice was tight with worry. Tae-ho nodded. "Put it through." The face of Admiral Yoon appeared on screen. His usual calm was gone. "Captain Kim, our deep space sensors have picked up unknown vessels approaching the outer colonies. 3 large ships, moving fast. They match no known design." Tae-ho felt his heart beat faster. First contact. The moment humanity had prepared for, hoped for, and feared for centuries. "Your orders, sir. Approach with caution. Try to make contact. The Dauntless is our best ship, and you're our best captain. If these visitors are friendly, welcome them. If not," the Admiral paused. "Defend our people at all costs." "Understood, sir." As the transmission ended, Tae-ho turned to his crew. 20 faces looked back at him, waiting for his words. "Set course to intercept the unknown vessels. All systems on standby alert." The Dauntless moved through space with grace, its engines humming with power. On the bridge, Dr. Jewry Park, the ship's science officer, worked at her station. "Captain, I'm picking up strange energy readings from the alien ships," she said, her fingers moving quickly over her console. "Nothing like our own engines. And there's something else." She looked up, her eyes wide with wonder and fear. "Life signs, many life signs, but not like humans. They're bigger, stronger, like large predatory animals." Tae-ho walked to her station. "Animals? Are you sure?" "No, sir. I'm not sure of anything right now. But these readings remind me of the energy patterns we see in large predators back on Earth, like wolves or big cats. Only different." Hours passed as the Dauntless closed the distance. The alien ships grew larger on their screens. They were dark, with sharp edges that reminded Tae-ho of teeth or claws. No lights shone from them. They looked like hunters, moving silently through the darkness of space. "Attempt communication," Tae-ho ordered. "All frequencies, all languages in our database. Standard greeting package." Officer Sun sent the messages. Minutes passed, then hours. No response, Captain. Tae-ho stared at the screen. The silence felt wrong. He had expected fear or excitement for first contact, but not this creeping sense of dread. "Keep trying," he said. The alien ships changed course slightly, now heading directly toward New Seoul Colony. Tae-ho felt the tension on the bridge rise. "Captain," said Dr. Jewry suddenly, "the energy readings just spiked." "There. I think they're waking something up." "Waking what up?" Tae-ho asked. Before she could answer, Officer Sun called out, "Captain, we're receiving a transmission." The main screen flickered. At first, Tae-ho saw only darkness. Then shapes moved in that darkness. He caught glimpses of something tall, something with too many limbs, something with eyes that reflected light like a cat's eyes, but colder. A voice spoke. It sounded harsh, like stones being crushed. The ship's computer worked to translate. "Humans." The word came through clearly, dripping with contempt. "Your worlds now belong to the Vorax. Submit or perish." Tae-ho felt cold spread through his body. He looked at the faces of his crew. Fear, disbelief, anger. He saw it all. "This is Captain Tae-ho Kim of Earth's Defense Force. We wish for peaceful." The transmission cut off. On the screen, the alien ships accelerated toward New Seoul. "Red alert." Tae-ho commanded. "All weapons ready. Send warning to the colony." But as the Dauntless raced to intercept, Taiho knew they might already be too late. Humanity's first contact would not be one of peace. It would be one of fire and blood. Han Bin Lee crouched behind the broken wall, his uniform torn and dirty. Once, he had been proud to wear the blue and silver of New Seoul's defense force. Now it was just a target for the things that hunted in the streets. "They're coming again," whispered Jai-Yun Kang beside him. The young medic's hands were stained with blood, not all of it human. She gripped her medical kit with one hand and a shock pistol with the other. Han Bin nodded and peered over the wall. The main street of New Seoul Colony lay in ruins. Buildings burned, cars were flipped over, and there, moving between the wreckage, were the beasts. They walked on 4 legs, each as thick as a tree trunk. Their bodies were 10 feet tall, covered in plates that looked like metal but moved like skin. Their heads had no eyes that Han Bin could see, just sensors that glowed red in the smoke. Most terrible were their limbs. Some ended in claws, others in things that looked like weapons grown from flesh. "What are they?" Jai-Yun had asked when they first appeared from the Vorax ships. No one had an answer then. No one had an answer now. A group of 5 colonists huddled behind Han Bin and Jai-Yun. They had found them hiding in a store. One was an old man with white hair and tired eyes. He watched the beasts with strange interest, not just fear. "We need to move," Han Bin said. "The shelter is 10 blocks from here. If we stay in the shadows, maybe we can." A howl cut through the air, not like a wolf or dog. This sound was deeper, like metal tearing, like engines breaking apart. Another beast answered, then another. The howl seemed to say, "We are here. We are hunting. You cannot hide." The old man spoke up. "They're talking to each other, coordinating." Han Bin looked at him. "Who are you?" "Dr. Du Yun Choi. I worked at the research center." He pointed to a building in the distance, now partly collapsed. "I study animal behavior and neural networks." "Well, doctor, those aren't animals from Earth," Jai-Yun said. "No," agreed Du Yun. "But they are animals. Predators. Changed by technology, but still animals at heart." Another howl, closer now. Han Bin gripped his rifle tighter. "We move now," he ordered. "Stay low, stay quiet. If you see one of those things, freeze. Don't run unless I say so." They slipped from behind the wall and into an alley. The smoke helped hide them, but it also made it hard to breathe. Jai-Yun helped an older woman who struggled to keep up. The doctor, despite his age, moved with purpose. Above them, the sky flashed with light. The colony's few defense ships fought the Vorax vessels, but Han Bin knew it was already too late. The enemy was inside the walls. They made it 3 blocks before it happened. A beast stepped out from between 2 buildings, blocking their path. It was even bigger up close, its head turned toward them, sensors glowing. A low rumble came from deep inside it. "Don't move," Han Bin whispered. His heart hammered in his chest. The beast stepped closer. It seemed to be tasting the air, looking for them without eyes. Then it lifted its head and howled. The sound hit Han Bin like a physical force. It spoke of hunger, of victory, of the joy of the hunt, and worst of all, of intelligence. This was no mindless animal. It knew what it was doing. "Run," Han Bin shouted. He raised his rifle and fired. The energy bolts hit the beast's plated skin and did nothing. The beast charged. Han Bin stood his ground, still firing. "Go. All of you. Run." Jai-Yun pulled the others away, but the old doctor hesitated. "We need a different weapon," he said, looking at Han Bin with sad eyes. "Not guns, something they don't expect." Then he too ran. The beast was almost on Han Bin now. He threw his rifle aside and pulled out his combat knife. It was useless, he knew, but he would not die running. Then a second energy beam hit the beast from behind. This one was stronger, military grade. The beast stumbled. "Move, soldier," shouted a voice. Han Bin looked up. A shuttle from the Dauntless Asterisk hovered above, its weapons trained on the beast. Captain Tae-ho Kim stood in the open doorway, extending a hand. Han Bin ran and jumped. The captain's strong grip pulled him up as the shuttle rose higher. Below them, more beasts gathered. Their howls filled the night, a terrible chorus of triumph as New Seoul burned. Dr. Juvri Park stared at the screen in the Dauntless Asterisk lab. On it was a cell from one of the Vorax beasts. A soldier had managed to cut off a small piece during a fight. The beast had killed him seconds later, but his sacrifice had given them something valuable. A sample. Amazing, Juvri whispered. The cell structure, it's both natural and artificial. Captain Tae-ho stood behind her. After rescuing Han Bin and the other survivors, he had ordered the Dauntless Asterisk to pull back to a safe distance. Now they watched as more Vorax ships arrived at New Seoul and other colonies. What does that mean? Tae-ho asked. It means these creatures were born, not built, Juri said. But they've been changed, enhanced. Their DNA has been mixed with technology. The door to the lab opened. Han Bin entered, followed by Jae-yun and Dr. Do-yoon. The elderly scientist moved straight to the screen. May I? He asked Jure. She nodded and stepped aside. Do-yoon studied the image, just as I thought. The Vorax didn't create these creatures. They evolved with them. Evolved? Han Bin asked. Like dogs with humans. Yes, but darker, Do-yoon said. On Earth, humans and wolves formed a partnership. Both species gained something. These Vorax and their beasts. This is more like a master and a weapon. Juri looked at her own readings. You may be right. I've been analyzing signals from the Vorax ships. They're constantly sending commands to the beasts. But it's not just orders. It's almost like they're feeding them information, making them smarter for each battle. A learning system, Do-yoon nodded. Impressive. And terrible. The ship's communication system beeped. Captain, said Officer Sun's voice, we're receiving another transmission from the Vorax. Tae-ho pressed a button on the wall. Put it through to the lab. The screen changed. Now they saw a Vorax for the first time clearly. It stood upright, taller than a human. Its body was thin but strong, with 4 arms. Its head was smooth, with 3 eyes set in a triangle. When it spoke, they saw rows of small, sharp teeth. Humans, it said in that crushing voice, you fight well for prey, but you will fall. All species fall before the Vorax and our war beasts. We don't have to be enemies, Tae-ho said. We can share this space. The Vorax made a sound like breaking glass. Laughter, perhaps. Share? Prey does not share with predator. Your worlds have resources we need. Your people will serve or die. Juri stepped forward. Your beasts are remarkable. Did your species create them? The Vorax seemed surprised by the question. Create? No, the great hunters existed before us. We were weak once. They hunted us. Then we learned to control them, to make them better. Now we hunt together. All other life forms are our prey. The transmission ended. The room was silent. So that's it, Han Bin said at last. They see us as animals to be hunted. Or used. Jae-yun added. He said, serve or die. Do-yoon walked to a window and looked out at the stars. When a predator and prey evolve together, they change each other. The prey becomes faster, smarter. The predator must match it or starve. What are you saying? Tae-ho asked. I'm saying we need our own beasts. Do-yoon turned to face them. Captain, there's something you should know. In my lab on New Seoul, I was working on a project. A way for humans to connect with animals. Not just as friends or pets, but deeper. Mind to mind. Jae-yun stared at him. That's why you weren't afraid when we saw those creatures. You already knew something like this was possible. Do-yoon nodded. I've been studying how humans and animals communicate for 40 years. I found something strange. Certain animals, ravens, wolves, some breeds of dogs, they don't just understand us. They can sense things we can't. Like what? Hanbin asked. Like death. Du Yun said simply. These animals have always been linked to death in human cultures. Not because they cause it, but because they can sense it. They know when it's near. Some can even sense what comes after. Taiho frowned. Doctor, we need weapons, not ghost stories. It's not a story, Du Yun insisted. It's science we don't yet understand. I found a way to connect human minds to these animals. To see what they see. Feel what they feel. And how does that help us fight the Vorax? Juri asked. Du Yun smiled. Their beasts howl to coordinate, to spread fear. They rely on being the loudest, the most terrifying predators. But our animals, they whisper. They move in shadows. They know secrets the Vorax can never learn. What secrets? Taiho demanded. The secrets of the dead, Du Yun said. And the dead are everywhere now, Captain. They'd wait for us to listen. 3 days passed. 3 days of bad news from every colony. The Vorax beasts tore through human defenses like paper. Earth ships fought bravely, but were too few. More Vorax ships arrived each day. On the Dauntless Asterisk, Captain Taiho called a meeting. Around the table sat his officers, plus Hanbin, Jai Yun, and Dr. Du Yun. On a screen, Admiral Yun watched from Earth Command. We've lost contact with 5 more colonies, the Admiral said. His face looked older now, tired. Our weapons slow the beasts, but don't stop them. At this rate, they'll reach Earth in 2 months. Taiho looked at Du Yun. Doctor, tell the Admiral your idea. Du Yun stood up. His hands shook slightly, but his voice was strong. Admiral, I've spent my life studying how humans and animals connect, not just as master and pet, but as partners. Throughout history, certain animals have been seen as guides between life and death. Ravens, wolves, certain dogs. These animals sense things we cannot. This is no time for animal stories, Doctor, the Admiral said. It's not just stories, Du Yun insisted. I've created a device, a neural interface that lets humans connect with these animals, not just to control them, but to share minds, to see through their eyes, feel what they feel. And these animals, they sense the dead. The room was quiet. Then Jai Yun spoke up. I've seen his research, Admiral. It's real. The doctor had a lab animal, a raven. When people died in the hospital near his lab, the raven knew. Before any monitors showed it, the raven always looked toward the room where death would come. The Admiral frowned. And how does this help us fight the Vorax? The Vorax and their beasts are connected, Juri said. But it's a connection of control. The Vorax command. The beasts obey. What Dr. Du Yun is suggesting is different. A true partnership. And there's more, Du Yun added. The Vorax beasts are loud. They howl to spread fear, to coordinate attacks. Our animals would be different. They move in shadows. They communicate in ways the Vorax can't understand or detect. Admiral Yun was silent for a long moment. This sounds like magic, not science. Sometimes the line is thin, Du Yun said. But this is real. Admiral, I've tested it myself. Finally, the Admiral nodded. We have few options left. Captain Kim, you have my permission to try this. Experiment. But I want results quickly. The screen went dark. Taiho turned to Du Yun. What do you need? The animals are here, Du Yun said. I had them moved from my lab before Nusol fell. They're in the ship's cargo hold. But I need volunteers to bond with them. The process is not easy. I'll do it, Taiho said. Jai Yun raised her hand. Me too. Hanbin nodded. Count me in. Du Yun smiled. Good. We start tomorrow. The cargo hold was dark except for a circle of light in the center. Taiho sat in a chair, medical sensors attached to his head and chest. Du-Yun worked at a console nearby. The neural interface will connect your mind to the ravens, Du-Yun explained. At first, it will feel strange. You might see things that aren't there, hear voices. This is normal. What exactly will happen? Taiho asked. Your consciousness will expand, Du-Yun said. You'll still be you, but you'll also feel what the raven feels. Know what it knows. And what does it know? Du-Yun looked at him with serious eyes. The boundary between life and death is not as solid as we think, Captain. Ravens have always flown across it. Now you will too. A cage was brought in. Inside was a large black raven. Its eyes were bright with intelligence. It looked at Taiho and made a soft sound, almost like a whisper. This is Midnight, Du-Yun said. He's been prepared for this. He's ready. Taiho took a deep breath. Let's begin. Du-Yun pressed buttons on his console. The neural interface activated. Taiho felt a strange tingling in his mind, then a rush of sensations not his own. He saw himself through different eyes, smelled things he never could before, felt the pull of air on wings he didn't have. Then came the whispers, soft voices all around. Some he recognized, soldiers who had died fighting the Vorax. They spoke of battles, of the beast's weaknesses, of ways to fight. Can you hear them? Du-Yun asked quietly. Yes, Taiho whispered. I can hear the dead. The raven spread its wings and cawed. But in Taiho's mind, it wasn't a caw. It was a word. Asterisk, ready asterisk. Taiho opened his eyes. The cargo hold looked different now. Shadows seemed deeper. Light seemed brighter. And everywhere, he sensed things he could not see. How do you feel? Dr. Du-Yun asked, checking the monitors. Strange, Taiho said. Like I'm still me, but more. The raven, Midnight, sat on a perch nearby. It watched Taiho with eyes that now felt familiar. Through their bond, Taiho could sense the bird's thoughts. Not words, but feelings, images. The connection is stronger than I expected, Du-Yun said with wonder. Your mind and Midnight's have formed a true link. Taiho stood up slowly. I can feel him. But there's something else too. Other presences. Du-Yun nodded. The dead. They are drawn to ravens, to wolves, to certain dogs. These animals have always been bridges between worlds. The door opened. Jia-Yun entered, followed by Hanbin. They stared at Taiho and the raven. Did it work? Jia-Yun asked. Taiho nodded. Yes. It's your turn now. Jia-Yun sat in the same chair Taiho had used. Her hands were steady, but her heart beat fast. She was afraid, but also excited. Your partner will be different, Du-Yun explained. Each person connects best with a different animal. He signaled to an assistant who brought in a cage. Inside was a gray wolf, smaller than most but with bright, alert eyes. This is Shadow, Du-Yun said. She was bred from wolves that have worked with humans for generations. Her kind have always been linked to death in human stories, guides to the afterlife. Jia-Yun looked at the wolf. The wolf looked back. There was no fear in either of them. I'm ready, Jia-Yun said. The neural interface activated. Jia-Yun gasped as her mind expanded. She felt the wolf's strength, its keen senses, but most of all, she felt its connection to something beyond the living world. Asterisk pack asterisk came the thought. Not a word exactly, but a feeling, a concept. Asterisk we are pack now asterisk. Yes, Jia-Yun whispered. We are pack. Hanbin was the last. His partner was a large black and tan dog, a mix of shepherd and hound. Its name was Hunter. Dogs have been with humans the longest, Du-Yun explained. They understand us better than any other animal. Some breeds, like this one, can sense things we cannot. Danger, sickness, death. The neural link formed quickly. Hanbin felt the dog's loyalty, its courage. And through the dog, He sensed the shadows of those who had died during the Vorax attacks. Asterisk protect asterisk came the thought from Hunter. Asterisk we protect the pack asterisk. Yes, Han Bin agreed. We protect. They gathered on the bridge of the asterisk dauntless asterisk. Tai-Ho with Midnight perched on his shoulder. Jai-Yun with Shadow at her side. Han Bin standing next to Hunter. The crew stared in wonder. The neural links are stable, Du Yun reported. Their minds are truly connected. But can they fight? Juri asked the question everyone was thinking. Tai-Ho looked at Midnight. Through their link, he sent a question. The raven spread its wings and flew to a console. Its beak pressed buttons in a pattern no bird should know. On the main screen appeared images of Vorax ships, their positions, their movements, information no human scout had been able to gather. How? Juri asked in shock. Midnight can fly where sensors cannot go, Tai-Ho explained. And he can see what the dead see. The fallen soldiers, the colonists. They watch the Vorax. They tell him things. Jai-Yun knelt beside Shadow. The wolves can move without being detected. The Vorax beasts rely on sound, on smell, but they cannot track what moves between worlds. Han Bin nodded. And the dogs can sense the beasts before they attack. They know when death approaches. Officer Sun's voice broke the silence. Captain, we're receiving a distress call from New Busan Colony. They're under attack. Tai-Ho straightened. Set course for New Busan. Maximum speed. He looked at his new team, humans and animals bound by something deeper than technology. It's time to test what we can do. As the dauntless asterisk turned toward New Busan, Tai-Ho felt something strange through his link with Midnight, a vast network forming. The raven could speak to the wolf to the dog, and through them all flowed the whispers of the dead, sharing secrets the Vorax could never know. The Vorax think they know death, Tai-Ho said quietly. They bring it, they use it, but they don't understand it. They don't listen to it. And we do, Juri asked. Tai-Ho nodded as Midnight made that soft, whispering sound again. We do now, and the dead have much to tell us. New Busan Colony burned. Vorax ships hung in the sky like dark clouds. On the ground, their beasts moved through streets and buildings, hunting for survivors. Their howls filled the air, sounds of triumph, of hunger, of alien joy in the hunt. The dauntless asterisk arrived quietly, using the planet's moon for cover. On the bridge, Captain Tai-Ho studied the situation. Beside him, Midnight shifted on his perch, black feathers gleaming. There are still 500 colonists alive, Tai-Ho said, hiding in the underground shelters. But the Vorax beasts are getting closer to finding them. Jai-Yun stood with Shadow pressed against her leg. Through their bond, she felt the wolf's eagerness for action. How many beasts? At least 30, Tai-Ho said. Too many to fight directly. Han Bin nodded, one hand on Hunter's head. Then we don't fight directly. We use what they don't expect. Dr. Du Yun and Dr. Juri watched from nearby. The neural links are stable, Du Yun said, but this will be their first real test. Tai-Ho looked at his team. We go in small and quiet. No large weapons, no ships. Just us and our partners. Officer Sun spoke up. Captain, that's too dangerous. Let me send a team off. No, Tai-Ho cut her off. Regular soldiers would just be targets. This mission needs something new. He turned to Juri. You have command of the dauntless asterisk until we return. Juri looked worried, but nodded. Be careful, Captain. They landed in a small shuttle, far from the main colony. Night had fallen on New Busan, but the fires from burning buildings lit the sky. Tai-Ho, Jai-Yun, and Han Bin moved silently through the darkness, their animal partners with them. Midnight flew ahead, eyes seeing what human eyes could not. Through their link, Tai-Ho received images, feelings, where the beasts were, how they moved, what they planned. Asterisk dead here, asterisk came the thought from midnight. Asterisk many dead. They watch. They help asterisk. Shadow and Hunter moved like ghosts, their senses reaching beyond the physical world. Jai Yun and Han Bin followed, guided by their partner's knowledge. They reached the edge of the colony. 3 Vorax beasts patrolled nearby, their metal-plated bodies gleaming in the firelight. They moved with terrible purpose, sniffing the air for human scent. "They know we're here," Han Bin whispered. "No," Jai Yun said, feeling Shadow's thoughts. "They sense something, but they don't understand what. We don't smell like normal humans anymore." Tai Ho nodded. The neural link had changed them all in subtle ways. Midnight will create a distraction. Shadow, Hunter, and their packs will attack from the shadows. We guide them, but let them fight their way. Through midnight, Tai Ho had contacted other ravens in the area. Through Shadow, Jai Yun had called to the wild wolves that lived in the forests outside the colony. Through Hunter, Han Bin had reached the colony's dogs, pets, guard dogs, strays, all now joined in a silent network of minds. Midnight flew over the Vorax beasts and dropped a small device, a sound emitter that made a noise like a human crying. The beasts turned toward it, sensors glowing red. From the shadows came the attack. Wolves moved in perfect coordination, striking weak points in the beast's armor that only the dead could have revealed. Dogs darted between massive legs, biting at joints and exposed wires. Ravens pecked at sensors, blinding the beasts. No howls came from the earth animals. They fought in silence, guided by human intelligence but using animal instinct. The first beast fell, then another. The third howled in alarm. A sound cut short as wolves tore out its vocal components. Across the colony, more beasts turned toward the disturbance. But by then, the humans and their partners had moved on, striking where least expected, then disappearing. Jai Yun felt Shadow's fierce joy through their link. Not the cruel joy of the Vorax beasts, but the satisfaction of protecting pack and territory. Han Bin sensed Hunter's determination, his focus on each target. By dawn, 15 Vorax beasts lay destroyed. The others had pulled back, confused by an enemy they couldn't track or understand. For the first time since the invasion began, the Vorax had lost a battle. In orbit, on a Vorax ship, the alien commander watched with three-eyed confusion. How? It asked its subordinates. How did they defeat our beasts? No one had an answer. They had heard no human weapons, seen no human soldiers on their sensors. It was as if the beasts had been attacked by ghosts, by the very shadows themselves. On the ground, Tai Ho stood with midnight on his shoulder, looking at the rising sun. "This is just the beginning," he said quietly. Around him, the whispers of the dead grew stronger. They had more to teach, more secrets to share. The war had changed. News of the victory at New Busan spread quickly. On the Dauntless Asterisk, Dr. Du Yun worked day and night, creating more neural interfaces. Volunteers came forward. Soldiers, colonists, anyone willing to bond with an animal partner. In a large room that had once been a cargo hold, Tai Ho watched as 20 new pairs trained. Men and women with ravens on their shoulders, wolves at their sides, dogs following their steps. The animals moved in perfect sync with their human partners. "It's working better than I hoped," Du Yun said, coming to stand beside Tai Ho. Despite his age, the scientist looked younger now, full of energy and purpose. "Yes," Tai Ho agreed, "but something else is happening too. Something you didn't predict." Du Yun nodded. "The network. I thought each human would bond with their animal, but I didn't expect the animals to form connections with each other." Through midnight, Tai Ho could feel the growing web of minds, ravens talking to wolves, wolves to dogs, and all of them sharing what they learned with their human partners. And beneath it all, the whispers of the dead growing stronger each day. "Captain," Jai Yun called, hurrying into the room with Shadow beside her. You need to see this. In the science lab, Dr. Jury stood before a large screen. On it was a map of space near Earth's colonies. Glowing dots showed the positions of Vorax ships. Watch, Jury said. She pressed a button, and the map changed. Several Vorax ships moved to new positions. They're gathering for another attack, Hanbin said. Hunter sat alert at his feet. Yes, but that's not what's important, Jury said. Look at this. She pointed to another screen showing brain waves from the animals. When the Vorax ships moved, our ravens knew it before our sensors detected the change. Tai-Ho felt Midnight shift on his shoulder. How is that possible? The dead, Du Yun said quietly. They're everywhere now. On the Vorax ships around their bases. They see everything. But how do they tell our animals? Jury asked. This breaks every law of physics I know. Du Yun smiled. Not breaks. Expands. There are connections we don't understand yet. The animals have always known this. Humans forgot, or never knew. Jai-Yun touched Shadow's head gently. The wolf dreams are growing stronger. I see places I've never been, hear voices speaking in languages I don't know but somehow understand. Same with the dogs, Hanbin added. Hunter shows me where Vorax beasts will be before they arrive. It's like he can smell the future. Not the future, Du Yun corrected. The intentions. The dead see what the Vorax plan. They share it through the Whisper network. Zhu Rai looked skeptical. You're talking about ghosts, Doctor. I'm talking about energy that continues after death, Du Yun said. Call it what you want. It's real, and it's helping us. Tai-Ho felt Midnight's thoughts merge with his own. Images flowed into his mind. Vorax ships, their movements, their weaknesses. Information no living human could know. The network is growing stronger, he said. And faster than we expected. It's not just the animals on this ship anymore. It's spreading to Earth, to other colonies. A planet-wide neural network, Du Yun whispered in wonder. Connected through animals that sense death, that speak to the dead. And the Vorax can't detect it, Jai-Yun added. Their beasts howl, make noise, show their strength. Our network is silent. A message came through the ship's system. Admiral Yun's voice was urgent. Captain Kim, the Vorax have launched a major attack on our moon base. All available ships are ordered to defend it. Tai-Ho looked at his team. This is it, the real test. Through Midnight, he sent a thought to all the ravens. Through them, it spread to wolves, to dogs, across the growing network. Not words, but a feeling, a purpose. Asterisk protect. Hunt. Shadow walk. Whisper. Asterisk. Across the ship, across space, animals responded. The Whisper network hummed with activity as the dead shared their knowledge, their secrets. For the first time, humanity had a weapon the Vorax could not understand or fight. The moon base has 3,000 people, Hanbin said. If it falls. It won't, Tai-Ho said with certainty. He felt Midnight's confidence, the strength of the network. The Vorax think they know death. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Earth's moon base was humanity's pride. Built over 50 years, it housed 3,000 people and served as the gateway to the solar system. Now it was under attack. 5 Vorax ships hung above the moon's surface. From them came transport ships carrying hundreds of beasts. The beasts moved across the airless surface, their bodies made for any environment. They tore at the outer doors of the base, howling in vacuum where no sound should travel. The Dauntless Asterisk arrived with 10 other Earth ships. Too few against the Vorax fleet, but they had something the Vorax didn't expect. On the bridge, Tai-Ho stood with Midnight on his shoulder. Around him were 20 other officers, each with a Raven partner. Through their shared network, Tai-Ho felt hundreds more minds, the wolves, the dogs, and their human partners on the other ships and inside the moon base itself. They've broken through at sectors 7 and 12, reported Officer Sun. The base's defenders are falling back. Not for long, Taiho said. He closed his eyes and sent images through the network. Battle plans, movements, timing. No words needed. The animals understood, and through them, their human partners understood too. Inside the moon base, chaos ruled. Vorax beasts rampaged through corridors, their howls striking fear into defenders. But in the shadows, other shapes moved. Jai Yun and Shadow led a pack of 20 wolves through maintenance tunnels. The wolves moved in perfect silence, their eyes glowing with shared purpose. Each wolf was bonded to a human partner, their minds working as one. There, Jai Yun whispered, pointing ahead where 3 Vorax beasts cornered a group of scientists. The beasts were huge in the confined space, their metal-plated bodies scraping the ceiling. Shadow sent a thought to the pack. No sound, just intent. The wolves moved. They struck from multiple angles, targeting joints and sensors that the dead had revealed as weak points. The Vorax beasts howled in confusion, trying to track enemies that moved like shadows, that struck and vanished. In another sector, Han Bin and Hunter led a team of dog-bonded humans. The dogs' keen senses detected beasts before they appeared. This way, Han Bin directed a group of scared civilians. The dogs know the safe paths. Across the base, ravens flew through air ducts and open spaces, their eyes seeing everything, their minds connected to the network. They dropped small devices on Vorax beasts, not bombs, but tiny machines that disrupted the signals from the Vorax ships. Cut off from their masters, some beasts became confused, easier to defeat. Outside, in space, the battle raged between ships. The Dauntless moved with unusual precision, avoiding Vorax fire while striking at weak points no scan had revealed. Through the ravens, Taiho knew exactly when and where to attack. "This is impossible," a Vorax commander hissed from its ship. "How do they know our movements before we make them?" On the Dauntless, Dr. Du Yun and Dr. Juri worked together in the lab, monitoring the neural network. "It's growing stronger," Juri said in wonder. "The more they fight together, the deeper the connection becomes." Du Yun nodded. "And the dead, they're not just watching anymore, they're actively helping." Through the network, the fallen humans, those killed in earlier attacks, guided the living. They had seen the Vorax up close, had learned their secrets in death. Now they shared that knowledge. In the main dome of the moon base, the largest Vorax beast led the attack. It stood 15 feet tall, its body a perfect blend of biology and machine. Its howl shook the walls as it smashed through the last defenses. But waiting for it was Taiho, who had transported down from the Dauntless. Beside him stood Jai Yun, Han Bin, and 30 other human-animal pairs. Their animals made no sound, but through the network, they communicated with perfect clarity. "You fight well, for prey," the beast said in that crushing voice. It was a direct channel for its Vorax master. "We are not prey," Taiho answered. Midnight spread his wings on Taiho's shoulder. "We never were." The beast charged. The animals moved as one force, directed by human intelligence, but fighting with instincts honed over millions of years. Ravens blinded, wolves hamstrung, dogs tore at vulnerable points. The beast howled one last time, then fell. Across the moon base, the pattern repeated. The Vorax beasts, for all their size and strength, could not fight what they could not understand. The silent, coordinated attacks of Earth's animals, guided by humans, and the whispers of the dead, overwhelmed them. In space, 2 Vorax ships exploded. The others began to pull back. "They're retreating," Officer Sun reported with disbelief. Through the network, Taiho felt a wave of triumph, not loud like the howls of the Vorax beasts, but deep and quiet like the shadows themselves. 1 month after the battle at Moonbase, Captain Taiho Kim stood in a large room on Earth. It was a meeting hall in what had once been the old United Nations building. Now it served as humanity's center for war planning. Around him sat the leaders of Earth and the colonies. Before them, on a raised platform, was something none of them had expected to see: a Vorax. The alien stood tall and thin, its 4 arms held stiffly at its sides. Its 3 eyes moved constantly, watching the humans and the animals beside them. In the room were ravens on perches, wolves and dogs sitting quietly by their human partners. The Vorax seemed more afraid of the animals than the humans. "You asked for this meeting," Admiral Yoon said to the Vorax. "Speak." The Vorax made a sound like grinding metal, clearing its throat, perhaps. "I am Voice of Many, sent by the Vorax High Command. We offer terms." A murmur went through the room. Terms. After months of slaughter, the Vorax wanted to talk. Taiho felt midnight shift on his shoulder. Through their link, he sensed something strange. The Raven could feel the Vorax's fear. Not just fear of defeat, but fear of something deeper, something the Vorax could not understand. "What terms?" Admiral Yoon asked. "We will withdraw from your colonies," Voice of Many said. "Return to the boundaries we held before this war. In exchange, you will share no more of your technology with other species." "Technology?" Juri spoke up from her seat. "You mean the neural interfaces?" "Yes." The Vorax's voice grew quieter. "The thing that lets you speak with your beasts. And with the others." "The dead," Taiho said clearly. The 3 alien eyes fixed on him. "Yes. The dead. This is not natural. Not right." Do Yoon stood up slowly, leaning on a cane. Age had caught up with him, again now that the worst of the fighting was over. "It is very natural. Humans and these animals evolved together over millions of years. We have always had connections. We just found a way to make them stronger." "But the dead do not speak," Voice of Many insisted. "When life ends, it ends. Not for us," Jaeyun said, her hand resting on Shadow's head. "For us, death is just another country. And our animals have always known the way there." Taiho stepped forward. "You don't understand because the Vorax and your beasts don't have the same relationship we have with our animals. You control your beasts. Force them. We partner with ours." Han Bin nodded, Hunter sitting alert beside him. "Your beasts howl because you make them howl. You use fear as a weapon. Our animals whisper because that's how they've always spoken to us. Quietly, from the shadows, from the spaces between life and death." Voice of Many made a strange gesture with its upper arms. "This is why we offer terms. You have advantages we cannot counter." The aliens seemed to struggle with admitting this. "Your animals move where our sensors cannot detect. They know things they should not know. And they grow stronger each day." It was true. The Whisper network now spanned all of Earth and the colonies. More humans bonded with animals each day. And the connection to the dead had grown deeper, revealing secrets not just about the Vorax, but about the universe itself. Admiral Yoon looked at Taiho. "Captain, your thoughts?" Taiho closed his eyes briefly, feeling the vast network through midnight. He sensed Jaeyun and Shadow, Han Bin and Hunter, and thousands of others, all connected, all sharing thoughts, all listening to the whispers from beyond. "We accept your withdrawal," Taiho said to the Vorax, "but we will continue to explore our connection with our animal partners and with the dead. It's who we are now." Voice of Many seemed to shrink slightly. "We feared this answer." "You fear what you don't understand," Taiho said more gently. "Perhaps someday that can change." 3 days later, Taiho stood with Jaeyun, Han Bin, and Dr. Du Yun on a hill overlooking the rebuilt New Seoul colony. Their animal partners were with them. The sun was setting, painting the sky in reds and golds. "The Vorax ships left orbit this morning," Taiho said. "All of them." "Will they come back?" Jaeyun asked. Du Yun shook his head. "I don't think so. They saw something in us that frightened them more than weapons ever could. A different way of being. A connection they can't share." Han Bin looked down at Hunter. What happens now? To us and our partners. Tai-Ho felt Midnight's thoughts merge with his own. The Raven's view of the future was strange but beautiful. Humans and animals growing closer, learning from each other, exploring the whispers from beyond death. Now we learn, Tai-Ho said. The dead have much to teach us, and our animal friends have always been better listeners than we were. As darkness fell, the Vorax beasts were gone. Their howls of triumph had faded into memory. But in the quiet evening, if you listened carefully, you could hear the whispers, ravens, wolves, dogs, and their human partners, speaking to each other and to those who had passed beyond, but never truly left.